prolific and gifted Japanese-Canadian writer named Muriel Kitagawa wrote in the New Canadian in March of 1942, "Whatever comes, let us forge a record of dignity and endurance to leave as a proud legacy to our sons and daughters." To her 4 children, including twins born during her family's relocation, she left an extraordinary literary legacy in her writings during and after the war, later collected in a remarkable book entitled "This is My Own," meaning my own family, my own community, my own country. Of the 22,000 Canadians who were relocated during the war, 17,000 of them, including Muriel, were naturalized or native-born Canadians, second-generation Canadians, such as herself. There was never a shred of evidence of any kind, then or later, of any disloyalty to Canada by any one member of that community. Indeed, the attempts of many Japanese Canadians to enlist in our armed forces were rudely rebuffed. The Canadian government did this to citizens of our own country primarily because the American government was doing it to theirs. It was purely in a pathetic conformist spirit that our government went along with the American relocation and incarceration of over 120,000 Japanese Americans. In the prevailing hysteria and paranoia of the day, the commissioner of the RCMP issued an official warning, and I quote, "to male enemy aliens," unquote, to evacuate the prohibited areas within weeks. But they were neither enemy nor alien. They were Canadian. But I remember thinking on that memorable day in Ottawa 20 years ago that in many ways this was the essence of democracy. Democracy is imperfect, but it generally gets things right or makes them right in the end. And I thought too, and this is what I shared with Charlie, what a high honor it was for me to serve as Prime Minister when Canada finally touched the hearts and souls of those in the gallery and told them how sorry we were for the searing injustice inflicted upon good and loyal Canadians and their children, and how proud we are to have them as citizens of this great nation. It was a moment in the House of Commons that made me proud to have chosen a career in public service. It is to do good things for Canada that people of all political persuasions actually go into politics. And on that memorable September day in 1988, as tears were wiped dry from members in the gallery, and as members of the House of all parties sobbed in recognition of what had been done and what was now being done to correct it. Muriel Kitagawa must have known that in 1947 when she wrote, "It's not enough to be a native Canadian and accept that mere birth alone is everything. Privileges, responsibilities, pride, allegiance. One must grow into citizenship. One must shoulder the responsibility before there is any real joy in the privileges. One must be vigilant for the honor of one's country, its integrity. Else, how can one say with pride, 'I am a Canadian'?" And she concluded with a line from a poem by Walter Scott, "This is my home, my native land." For her life and the lives of all other Japanese Canadians in wartime, Canada can be grateful. They were gentle but persistent patriots who loved our country in spite of everything and made it a better place. What they were able to do, in the end, enhanced our citizenship, made Canada a better place, and made Canadians better citizens. For this, we thank all Canadians, but in a special way tonight, we thank Japanese Canadians for their courage and devotion, unshakable devotion to Canada in spite of everything. And here we are tonight, 20 years later, celebrating 2 more decades of progress and fairness and tolerance and justice, the hallmarks of our country. And I invite you to never forget, with your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, the marvelous contribution that the Japanese Canadian community made on a special time in our history to strengthen the country, Canada, that we love so much. Thank you all.